What's up everyone, Alex here, and Happy New Year to you all. Welcome to my list of most anticipated games of 2025. I want to help you make sense of the year's upcoming games, so I've compiled a list of JRPGs and games within that interest that are releasing throughout the year. This list is divided into 3 easy-to-understand sections: games with release dates, games with release windows, and games with only a quote-unquote 2025 release. Feel free to bounce around these categories and games using the chapter markers, and make sure to check out the pinned comment for links to pre-order. First off, let's talk about the games that have a firm release date. They have a lower chance of being delayed, but they definitely have a higher likelihood of coming out. Wuthering Waves touts itself as one of the most successful free-to-play action RPGs of recent memory, and with its recent release on the PS5 on January 2nd, it'll sure to attract many more fans to this amazing world. Wuthering Waves is also available on mobile and PC. Ys Memoire, The Oath in Felghana is the long-awaited remaster of the original game released 20 years ago, now with a narrator for ADAL, turbo mode, better movement, and so much more. I actually reviewed this game recently, and if you're a new Ys fan and want to check out one of the more beloved games in the series, The Oath in Felghana instantly becomes a must-play for your library. This remaster is out now on PlayStation platforms and Switch. Originally released on the Vita, Freedom Wars Remastered is a multiplayer action RPG that's become a cult classic. This game puts you in the role of someone whose crime is just living, and are sentenced to 1,000,000 years to fight in a war where you compete for the planet's remaining resources. Dystopian? Sure is, and it won't be long until you get to play it too, as it's coming out on January 10th on PlayStation platforms, Switch, and PC. One of the most beloved games in the Tales series, in Tales of Graces F Remastered, is coming out on January 17th. Tales of Graces F is said to have been the inspiration for Tales of Arise's systems, borrowing its more block-slash-dodge-based combat system, as well as its progression system that fans of the latter will definitely recognize. The game puts you in the role of Asbel Lant, who meets a young girl named Sophie, who, of course, doesn't know who she is. There's a bit more to this story, but I think it's best that you experience it yourself. Tales of Graces F Remastered is coming out on January 17th on all modern platforms. I finally got to play the demo of Dynasty Warriors Origins, and it's definitely put a much more serious spin on the often retold story of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. What separates this game from the others is that you now play the role of a mysterious wanderer who can learn to use just about every weapon in the game. Additionally, your presence in the story is now weaved through the traditional narrative, making your character an integral part of this retelling. It's also got a few new mechanics too, and promises to be much more tactical than previous entries. Dynasty Warriors Origins is coming out on January 17th on PS5, Series X and S, and PC. One of 2025's newest games is a sequel of a game released all the way back in the PS2 era. Phantom Brave: The Lost Hero introduces you to a young girl named Marona, who has the power to talk with the spirits of the dead called phantoms. This tactical RPG puts you in control of these phantoms, having them possess items on the map in order to participate in battles. It's under the radar for many JRPG fans this year, but its cute art style and simple controls are probably what's going to make it one of the more endearing and captivating games to play early in 2025. Phantom Brave: The Lost Hero is coming out on January 30th on PS5 and Switch, with a spring release for PC. And now, we're starting to get into the nitty-gritty of this first quarter, which means that The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak 2 is coming very, very soon. Hot off the heels of the ending of the original game, Trails Through Daybreak 2 continues the story of Van Arkwright and improves upon the already incredible gameplay system that many of us enjoyed. The action combat is much improved, and the sequel now marks the return of many games to the series, including fishing. Quite frankly, I still can't believe that we're getting this less than a year from when the original game came out. And on Valentine's Day, February 14th, will all be able to take on this incredible new adventure on PlayStation platforms, Switch, and PC. Amnesia is a hot topic when it comes to JRPGs because it just seems like everybody's got it. So when I heard that our beloved Majima also got Amnesia in the brand new Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, well, I guess that's a good enough reason as any to make him do pirate shenanigans. Much like Kiryu's Gaiden storyline, Majima's Gaiden storyline returns the series back to the good old action gameplay that longtime fans have loved. And with Samoa Joe making a cameo as the Pirate Lord, it's sure to become one of the most bombastic games in the series' history. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii is coming out on February 21st on PS5, Series X and S, and PC. I missed out on playing the beta for Monster Hunter Wilds last year, but early reactions to the game have praised its more refined open-world-inspired gameplay. Delving into the different biomes and relearning how to defeat some of the game's more powerful foes with your friends has always been a treat. And with so many new twists and secrets to the classic Monster Hunter gameplay awaiting in this version, and you potentially got the best co-op multiplayer game coming out very, very soon. Monster Hunter Wilds is coming out on February 28th on PS5, Series X and S, and PC. Suikoden is one of those classic JRPGs that I never got to play for one reason or another, but on March 6th, not only will we be able to enjoy the remaster of the first game, but also the second game as well. Both of these games have been considered as some of the best PS1 JRPGs for many, many years. And now that we're finally in 2025, many new and longtime JRPG fans will finally get to experience this classic in a fresh, new way. And you've no longer got any excuses either, because the game is coming out on every modern platform on March 6th. While Xenoblade Chronicles X is considered a side game in the series, it nonetheless has its fans. And on March 20th, the final holdout for many Wii U fans out there is finally releasing on Switch with the release of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. Having another excuse to go back to the world of Xenoblade is good enough for me. But in case you've never heard of it, Xenoblade Chronicles X follows the story of a human vessel that escaped an alien battle that destroys Earth. You get to design your own character in Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is a first in the series, and it's also very mission and quest-based, which is a departure from the more narrative-heavy progression in the mainline games. More Xenoblade is great in my book, so I'm looking forward to checking this game out when it releases on March 20th, finally, on the Nintendo Switch. You know how for the longest time people would describe Atelier games as cozy? Atelier Yumia might be that shift in the franchise that puts a darker spin on the whole thing. The world of Atelier Yumia has outlawed alchemy, after this dark art seemingly plunged the world into doom. But folks like Yumia believe that there's something far deeper and sinister at play here, as she's quietly studying these magical arts while uncovering the truth behind what happened many, many years ago. And everyone gets to join on this adventure, as it's coming out on all modern platforms on March 21st. A new Atelier series begins. The 100-line Last Defense Academy is giving me some serious 13 Sentinels vibes. Made by the folks responsible for Danganronpa, Zero Escape, and Master Detective Archives Raincode, the 100-line Last Defense Academy brings together 15 students to defend the school for 100 days against an army of monsters hell-bent on ensuring that humanity becomes extinct. It seems more tower defense than tactical RPG, but I'm still curious if 2Q can stick the landing. The 100-line Last Defense Academy is coming out on April 24th on Switch and PC. The following games have release windows, which means that, at most, they have a wide 3-month window to release, and have a slightly higher chance of getting delayed. That said, there's a chance that we'll get a more firm release as 2025 unravels. Here are those games. From the creator of Coffee Talk and What Comes After comes a slice-of-life adventure that's set in modern Jakarta. After Love EP mixes elements of dating sims, rhythm games, and traditional adventure as you step into the shoes of a young musician struggling to move on after the passing of the love of his life. After Love EP is coming out in the first quarter, so anytime between the beginning of January and the end of March, on PlayStation platforms, Series X and S, Switch, and PC. Lunar Silver Star Story Complete is one of my favorite JRPGs of all time, and we'll all get to experience these classics once again in the Lunar Remastered collection, which is coming out between the beginning of January to the end of June. Don't you just love these release windows? These games were ahead of their time, featuring beautiful anime cutscenes, great voice acting, and a memorable soundtrack by Noriyuki Iwadare. And you get two for the price of one, as it also includes Lunar Eternal Blue Complete. The games are slated to come out on PlayStation platforms, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, lets you live your cozy life and adventure to your heart's content when it comes out sometime in April. This is the sequel to one of the more popular Nintendo exclusives of the 3DS era, promising a chill and relaxing time as you breathe life to a ruined island. Build your city, go on adventures, and explore to your heart's content. And new to the game, travel between past and present and unlock the mysteries of this island. Lots of things to do indeed. So it's fitting then that you'll be adventuring on the go on your Switch when this finally comes out in April. Shadow Hearts. Just saying that game fills veteran JRPG fans with memories of a gothic horror JRPG whose spiritual successor has sat in limbo. But if it's to be believed, the long-awaited Penny Blood will be coming out between the beginning of April and the end of June. Again, those release windows. Much like Shadow Hearts, Penny Blood is set in the 1920s as you investigate supernatural happenings that span the Americas, Europe, and Asia. The last thing we heard about this game, the devs were having a tough time securing a publisher, so the release window is dubious at best. Nonetheless, it's slated to come out on PS5, Series X and S, and PC, if it ever makes its window. Apart from its motif and setting, there is nothing Western about Clair Obscur Expedition 33's gameplay. It utilizes JRPG turn-based combat inspired by the greats like Lost Odyssey. Can't confuse that for Baldur's Gate, Skyrim, or Witcher, let me tell ya. But that all doesn't matter, because the mystery revolving around this game, the fact that everyone of a specific age, every year, just gets finger snapped out of existence, Thanos style, is such an intriguing concept that I just love to see what the deal is with that. It's probably the RPG that I'm hyped for the most this year, and it's allegedly coming out between the beginning of April and the end of June for PS5, Series X and S, and PC. But if we're talking remakes that I'm excited for, then that's easy. That's Trails in the Sky First Chapter. Contrary to many Kiseki fans' insistence, there are plenty of JRPG fans who refuse to play on PC because it's simply not a platform they play games on. It's never been a question of whether or not their PCs can run it. But with Trails in the Sky First Chapter, that excuse just falls by the wayside, because one of the most beloved entries in the series, albeit the first one, is being remade with the same battle engine that made Trails Through Daybreak a favorite. Blending action combat with turn-based is something that I'm loving, so I'm hoping that by the fall, that is, from the beginning of September to the end of November, we'll all be able to experience this amazing remake. Trails in the Sky First Chapter is coming out on PS5, Switch, and PC. And finally, here are the games that only have a vague 2025 as their release date. There's a super high likelihood that these games will be delayed, but I've included these games here just in case that changes. We're kicking off this portion of the list with one of the reasons why I've delayed my most anticipated games list for the second year in a row. Recettear, an Item Shop's Tale HD edition, was just announced as soon as 2025 hit. Now, granted, this 2025 window is Japan only so far, and thus far it's only coming out on PC, but we can still be excited to see Recettear being remastered for a modern era. This beloved game has you managing your own item shop while also gathering the ingredients for said items yourself, which is a concept that's endured the test of time. When's it coming out in the West? Who knows? But at the very least, we know it's coming out somewhere, and that it's real. Unbeatable is an action rhythm game that was in development well before the popular Hi-Fi Rush came out, and it seems like it's almost ready to come out. I remember playing the demo of it super early on and loved its visuals, its music, and its gameplay. The devs are locked in for a 2025 release on PS5, Series X and S, and PC, but you can play the demo that I've talked about on PC. Pokemon games always come out on time, so I'm pretty sure Pokemon Legends ZA is coming out this year for Switch without fail. Truthfully, I'm not quite sure how this game will differentiate itself from Arceus, but if it's anything like that, I know that I'm gonna love it. All I know is that this new adventure is set in Lumio City. Well, I suppose that's good enough for me. Lost Soul Aside has shown up in almost every single most anticipated games list since its announcement in 2016, and it's nearing Duke Nukem Forever status, which is funny given that that game eventually came out. Nonetheless, Lost Soul Aside seems to be inching ever closer to release, and it's still got some great action scenes based on the latest footage. Again, it's coming out on PS5 and PC, but whether it releases in 2025, your guess is as good as mine. Nope, you're not seeing a new Fairy Tail game, though you've got a good eye to spot the art style. Konami is releasing Eden's Zero, an action RPG based on Hiro Mishima's hit manga. I know that there are tons of fans of this author, so I thought I'd include it here. And yes, it's got the mysterious 2025 release date tacked on it. And it's slated to come out on PS5, Series X and S, and PC. Looks pretty good at least. So, I've never truly been hyped for a Rune Factory game in my entire life until I saw the reveal trailer for Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. This is one of those games that tries to blend that cozy farming atmosphere with traditional action RPG style gameplay, something that Stardew Valley has perfected and continues to update and improve upon. But with Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma, it seems like they're pushing things further into that narrative direction, much more so than previous titles, and it's definitely more than enough for me to be excited for it. The game is slated to come out sometime this year on Switch and PC. Please make it this year. Separately, Dragon Quest I and II are short games, but together, it serves as a fitting conclusion to the Erdrick saga, even if you're not called Erdrick anymore. Dragon Quest I and II HD 2D Remake continues the story set forth by its prequel in Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, promising a ton more adventures and backstory that helps flesh out this beloved trilogy. No platforms were officially announced for this packed-in duo, but I'm guessing that it's coming out on PS5, Series X and S, Switch, and PC, much like the former. I almost ignored the announcement for Atelier Resleriana, the Red Alchemist, and the White Guardian, because we all know that Resleriana debuted as a mobile title first. So imagine my surprise when I learned that this Atelier Resleriana is actually built to be a super traditional Atelier title, and allegedly releasing the same year as Atelier Yumia. This is not an offline version of the mobile game, but rather an all-original adventure featuring the same character. How it does or doesn't tie with a mobile game is up in the air, but potentially getting two great Atelier games this year? Be still my beating heart. And it's coming out on PlayStation platforms, Switch, and PC. And those, my dear friends, are the games that are coming out in 2025. There's a lot, isn't it? And to think that we only know of so little. Be sure to keep an eye out for the second half of the year for an updated version of this list. But for now, I want to hear what you think. Which games are speaking to you? The ones that you want to play right now if you could. Post your thoughts in the comments below and let's talk about it. Just a reminder, links for pre-order are in the pinned comment. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.